So obviously, as you are typing a code, you'll type a code, you'll have a compiler and and an interpreter. Okay, so now the first thing here they will tell you is that when you're typing possibly the ifs, the thens, and then some, to mention a few, the result of what is written by programmers is called a code. Okay, the result, not what is actually risen from the dead. Now, the result of what is written by programmers is called code. This is what they say here. Now, if I understand it correctly, it's now saying that what I'm seeing in front of me is the source code. Is this the result of what the programmers have wrote? Is this the result of what the programmers have wrote? I'm not sure yet, but we'll continue. Then we'll continue to say, however, as they've written this code, computers do not understand this type of high-level programming language, right? Okay, possibly they are talking about the ifs, the thens, the break, the while loop, the if loop, then yes, all of those. Possibly. I'm not sure as of yet. I'm still learning. So, since it's like this, then we know computers understand binary numbers or binary digits. So now, in order for it to understand, for you to write everything and then it to play it around, for it to distinguish the language to computer language, it has to be converted. So to convert the source code to binary code, a compiler or an interpreter is used. Okay, we need to have a compiler or an interpreter in order to do so. However, a compiler, simply here they say, will read first the entire source code and analyze it. The process may take some time, although once the code is analyzed and compiled, the execution is a lot safer. If there is an error in the code, the compiler will output a message with information regarding the bug. So we'll say a compiler is almost like a tester to say, I'm running this whole code. As I'm running it, I'll tell you there's an error or a syntax error or whatever it is in line 12 or line 45 or whatever line. Okay, so we'll take it as that for now, unless someone else can help me. Now they say, if there's an error in code, the compiler will output a message with information regarding the bug. Unfortunately now, the compilation process will come to an end, meaning it will not compile anything. It will halt there, wait there until you begin again, or wait, you fix the issue or the error, then you begin again to compile the code again or run the code again. But if there are no mistakes, the result will be object code, also referred to as binary code. Okay, so if I say, for instance, print, I won't say print hello world because it's overused now. So if I would say print Motshwara Teu, if only I had something to write on. So if I say print Motshwara Teu, and then it's going to show me Motshwara Teu as it is, right? That's programming. That's not the C and the C++ one. That's here I'm simple talking about Python. Yeah, that's the one. So now they say, because executable files don't work on every platform, they must be generated for one each. Examples of programming languages that use compilers are C and C++. C and C++. Examples. Does Python have a compiler? Or does it even have, or what should we call, an interpreter? I think they are there. Now, let's continue. Now, one of the most important advantages of compilers is that the source code is no longer needed after the executable file is built. Okay, yes, I guess I understand. Because if I'm creating a Python file, okay, it's called a maybe we'll say what, let's create a file. I don't want to say YouTube one, we'll say an app, our own AI. Okay, we'll say I created this whole programming language, not creating a programming language, I've created AI using a certain programming language. Now I've ran it and it's working perfectly fine. Now to save it, that's when they say it's an executable file. Okay, either you'd save it as a .py for Python or YouTube. Actually, YouTube was created using Python, so save it as an executable .py, so that every time when you open this executable file, it will run the code and then display everything you see in YouTube. Okay, so that's it. Now this protects the source code from unauthorized developers or hackers who may wish to tamper with and misuse it. The downside is that if any changes need to be made, the programmer necessarily needs the source file. As a result, regular backups are highly recommended in this scenario. So you always have to backup this source file, okay, or this executable file. Now an interpreter. So we now know a compiler will run the code, and then if everything is fine, you have to save the code, right? Now an interpreter does things differently. It will convert the source code into binary code all at once, basically meaning you're turning this language that you understand yourself into what binary language that the computer understands. They'll say binary code, I understand, yes, it's fine, but binary language that the computer will understand so that it can execute it. Okay, sort of like press play. So instead, it translates each statement at a time as the program is being executed, which makes interpretation faster when it comes to analyzing and processing the program. If an error is encountered, the code's execution will stop abruptly. This can be considered a benefit since the bug can easily be found. Interpreters are used by programming languages like Ruby and Python, for example. Okay, now we have an interpreter for Python. Okay, and remember, Ruby is another programming language that I recently found while learning this. So yeah, thank you. So now interpreters are beneficial in that they are quite easy to use by new programmers. Yes, someone like me. And there is no string or storing of machine code. Nevertheless, the source code will always be required every time an execution is performed, so it must be shared with the end user. This makes the source code vulnerable. There is also a noticeable difference in speed. No matter the case, interpreted programs run slower than compiled ones. Okay, you don't say, huh? Interpreted ones run slower than compiled ones. So the best way to get best of both worlds is Java, and I don't think I am ready enough for Java. I think I'm too scared for Java. But yeah, they say how to get best of both worlds is Java. The programming language first compiles its source code into object code, which is intermediary code that no processor can execute. Then at runtime, the Java virtual machine interprets this code into machine code for underlying performance platform in their specific targeted device. Okay, let's continue. That was a mouthful. So now source code must be translated because it is unintelligible to most humans. Only computers can understand it. I don't want to say neither, but it is kind of neither, because firstly, you translate source code so that the computer can understand it, and then you can translate it back so that from that binary code to a simple source code so that the person can understand it. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's fine. There you go. Neither. We are there. Binary code is used because a compiler says it is necessary. It is the only language which can be distinguished by computers. True. Computers understand bits, numbers, zeros and ones. So we're turning this language IT or it into a 0 or a 1 or maybe 8 zeros and ones. Yes. Now, the execution is a lot faster once the interpreter has analyzed the source code. The compiler is much faster than the interpreter. That's what I know. Once the compiler is finished analyzing and compiling the code, neither. So now the interpreter analyzes as the code is being executed. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this one. Thank you. I'm learning. Today we are learning. Now the interpreter is not exactly the same as the compiler, because during execution the interpreter translates statements one by one. True, during execution the interpreter finds and solves errors. There we go. And then the last one, just to keep it quickly. One benefit of using interpreter is machine code is always easily stored. The source code does not need to be shared. Let me check back. Let me think again. So one of them, unlike Java does two things, Yes, but one of them, it's much safer. The other is not much safer. Okay, one of them, machine code is always easily stored. You always have to store it. The interpreter is that it is easily stored. However, with a I'm wrong. It's fine. It's neither. Okay, I was never gonna get it right. So the interpreter, I won't say it's always easily stored, but then it's easier to store it, but then you have to store it with all the end user. Now with a compiler, you always have to save this code in case you want to go back and do some editing on the code. Okay, that's what I understand. Now Java shares qualities of both the compiler and the interpreter. Machine code with all users, no. Then you're done. This is it. This is our exercise. And then we're going to what? Customer support. Section 4. Hopefully we can finish this one. Even if we finish it tomorrow, it's still fine. We are finishing today. And I hope my battery is not low. Yeah. Pamili ngesemoy mama hiye hewo hololo pamili ngewo ete pamili ngewo ete pamili ngesemoy mama hiye pamili ngewo hololo pamili ngewo inexolo mama pamili ngewo celo dada pamili ngesemoy mama hiye pamili ngewo hololo pamili. Okay, that was an advert. So now we're back here. Video summary. So as I said, these ones I'm not necessarily going to stick too much on them. You already know, just simple grammar. Okay, sorry about that. It's all about grammar. Just understanding grammar, the language of English and their grammar. Here they are all about being polite. There's someone called polite somewhere in the world. So it's all about being polite. So would you kindly explain why my operating system is not compatible? Why your operating system is not okay? Yeah, kindly let me make a polite request, but also suggest that there is some frustration. I want to say, tell me, but of course I need to be more polite. So you'd say, kindly let me make a polite request. Okay, urgently can also be used to add seriousness when we want to say something that needs to be done ASAP, as soon as possible, man. Yeah, this issue should be prioritized. A solution is urgently needed if you want to keep the business. Sometimes we need, this issue should be prioritized instead of a solution is urgently needed if you want to keep their business. Because it's almost like, okay, we can give it like tomorrow. I can still focus on it. I mean, what's wrong with that? I'm like, oh snap, this issue should be prioritized. Okay, so right now we should be doing it. Priority number 1. So furthermore is an adverb we sometimes use to start a sentence. It means in addition to, and usually follows important information. Okay, that's a new one. Okay, I think we'll hold production here. Give me a few. One with say, ooh, I want to add this one in the video. Ooh, gonna stop. We have to stop. But ooh, in the shisha, wah, isha, ooh, in the how, hella, ha, shika, ooh, shika, boom, shaka, boom, whoa. Could you urgently tell me why I'm unable to send? Could you furthermore could you furthermore tell me why? I'm gonna choose these. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Damn, I should have learned. It's urgently and furthermore. There and kindly. Sorry. We need to increase the number of closed cases this month. Urgently. ah. Furthermore, students or learners or whoever's going to learn English, I would appreciate if you could urgently let me know when I will receive an update on this matter. I would appreciate it if you could kindly, okay, not furthermore. Furthermore is for additionally type of English. I can't believe I feel that right. The application is no longer functioning. Furthermore, I am no longer. Yeah. In order for the application to work, you need the latest operating system. Please kindly check your OS to make sure it is the correct version. I'm not sure. Please urgently check. Okay, I guess if ever it's a priority. Please, can you look into this issue furthermore? Please, can you look into this issue urgently? Kindly. Okay. Number one, read the sentence and decide which one sounds the most correct. Kindly, could you tell me why I am still unable to send? Could you kindly tell me why I'm still unable to send emails from my email account? Furthermore, we need to increase the number of closed cases this month. We need to consider our response rate. We need to increase the number of closed cases this month. Sorry, yay. Furthermore, we need to increase the number of closed cases this month. Furthermore, we need to consider our response rate. We need to increase the number of closed cases this month. We need to consider furthermore. These two are correct. But I guess you don't start with furthermore. You start with the sentence. I would appreciate it if you could kindly let me know when you have an update. I would appreciate it if you would kindly. The application is not working. Furthermore, the application is not working. I cannot log onto the app. Furthermore, I cannot. Okay, damn. Even though I think it's wrong English, but thank you for watching today. Sorry for the way I'm ending things. It seems as though I don't know how to end things, but I know how to start them. So please, in God's name, can I have a way to end things? Thank you for watching. Please, as it has shown, comment, like, and subscribe. We're trying to learn, like you and me. We are all trying to learn. So this is our opportunity to learn. So please join me again. I will post another one. In due time, and as I've said on my second video, I will try to learn ahead so that we don't have to do this whole process of learning together. However, if you still like it, you can tell me. Thank you for joining me today. It's been a nice one.